Receiver Justyn Ross was arrested in Shawnee today.
The Johnson County Sheriff's Office says Ross was booked for criminal damage of more than $25,000. Sheet says DV, which seems to indicate domestic violence may be part of this case.
I've been very invested in this individual's NFL career. I mean, he's truly an underdog story given what's happened to him up until this point. And unfortunately, we got an alleged report that definitely doesn't sound good in regards to this Kansas City Chiefs wide receiver. So before we get to the content, make sure you drop like, subscribe, and turn on our notifications to help the channel grow. Now that we get all that out of the way, ladies and gentlemen, every time PrizePicks has done this, it's practically been free money for us. For the opening weeks of the NFL season, we've had a lot of success on PrizePicks. I've been showing you guys my picks on Instagram, and I post my picks there for free consistently at The Flight Mike. And typically, you need to at least make 2 correct picks in order to make money. But in this case, PrizePicks is giving us a free Steph Curry square. Steph Curry only needs 1 point in order for his square to convert. So we just need to get 1 pick right at minimum to make money here. So if you're an NFL fan, I'm looking at Tyreek Hill scoring a touchdown versus the Philadelphia Eagles. And if you're an NBA fan, I'm looking at Michael Porter Jr. to grab more than 5.5 rebounds. Make sure you use my promo code Mikerophone to get a $100 deposit match when you sign up at PrizePicks. This is easily my favorite promo of the year. We've had a lot of success with it in the past. I'm going to show you additional picks on my Instagram story. And thank you, PrizePicks, for the sponsor. Mic check 1212. What's going on, everybody? I've mentioned on this YouTube channel countless amounts of times how the Kansas City Chiefs have been consistently searching for a brand new wide receiver to fill in the void that Tyreek Hill left once they had no choice but to trade him to the Miami Dolphins. I mean, the Kansas City Chiefs couldn't afford to make Tyreek Hill the highest paid wide receiver in the NFL. So in the 2022 offseason, they made a significant trade with the Miami Dolphins. They would trade Tyreek Hill to the Miami Dolphins, and as a result would get a 2022 first round pick, a second round pick, a fourth round pick, and then they would get a fourth round pick and a sixth round pick in the 2023 NFL draft. And again, this was a huge win-win trade for them because they would trade up from the 29 pick in order to eventually select Trent McDuffie, who statistically speaking currently is the best cornerback in the NFL at this point in the season. And Tyreek Hill became the heart and soul of the new look Miami Dolphins offense. That is an absolute joy to watch. But since then, the Kansas City Chiefs have been sort of struggling to fill in the void that their top 3 wide receiver left behind. I mean, very shortly after, they signed Juju Smith-Schuster to approve a deal to be a safety blanket for Patrick Mahomes, but they also really needed to figure out who Patrick Mahomes' new number 1 wide receiver will be. Now, obviously, Patrick Mahomes' consistent number 1 wide receiver is his tight end, Travis Kelce, but they also began throwing darts at the dartboard. In the 2022 NFL draft, they selected Sky Moore with a second round pick. They signed Marquez Valdez-Scantling, who is known for his speed in Green Bay. And they would also take a flyer on a player who was widely considered to be a top 10 first round pick coming out of Clemson, but there was one problem. Justyn Ross has been dominant in his early years on the Clemson Tigers, and he was primarily known as one of Trevor Lawrence's favorite targets, especially when they won the 2019 college football playoff national championship. Ross would have a very successful freshman year. He would have a slightly less successful sophomore year, but then he would miss all of 2020 due to having a congenital fusion condition of his neck and spine that required surgery. By the time he returned, Trevor Lawrence was gone, and he had to build a new rapport with a brand new quarterback. And let's just say he wasn't nearly as prolific this time around. At this point, following the 2021 season, he decided to declare for the NFL draft. And in the 2022 NFL draft, he would go undrafted. So the Kansas City Chiefs had a very unique opportunity here, signing Justyn Ross as an undrafted free agent, and if he pans out, then you potentially get a top 10 draft pick for free, assuming that he doesn't have any injury problems. I was very excited for Justyn Ross in his rookie season. Bear in mind, the Kansas City Chiefs really hyped up Justyn Ross's arrival. I mean, throughout all of training camp, you would see Justyn Ross making one-handed grabs and building rapport with Patrick Mahomes. There's this huge mystique over who's going to be the wide receiver one that fills the void that Tyreek Hill left behind, and Justyn Ross had a very legitimate chance. But unfortunately, before his rookie rookie season could start, before he could actually try to compete with Sky Moore and Marquez Valdez-Scantling and Juju Smith-Schuster to become wide receiver one, Justyn Ross would get injured once again, and he'd be ruled out for the entire season. Now, the incredible thing about Patrick Mahomes is he doesn't really need a true wide receiver one to win a Super Bowl, because despite it all, Patrick Mahomes was able to win Super Bowl number 2 without really having a true wide receiver one to replace Tyreek Hill, which in of itself is an incredible achievement. But going into year 2, the Kansas City Chiefs once again had the same problem. Juju Smith-Schuster left to take a contract that gave him more long-term stability underneath the New England Patriots. So once again, the Kansas City Chiefs started throwing darts at the wide receiver dartboard. They drafted Rashee Rice in the second round of the 2023 NFL draft, who was paired with Sky Moore, who was supposed to emerge in his second year, considering the fact that Mecole Hardman left for the New York Jets. Kadarius Toney had a full offseason with the Kansas City Chiefs, and he was compared to Tyreek Hill coming out of Florida, so maybe he would be able to fill the void. And through it all, we got the signature Justyn Ross offseason highlights in training camp, receptions from Patrick Mahomes, and even Patrick Mahomes praising him.
Yeah, I mean, the talent's through the roof. I think anybody can see that, and I think he's gotten better and better. And even though he wasn't active all year long, he was in the building and he was able to see the guys and how we do things and listening and being in some of the meetings and stuff like that. And so I'm excited for him, man, to get out there and be able to get the reps and practice and get the little fine details that we like to do in this offense. And like I said, the talent's there. He works his tail off. I'm like, man, you got to ease up a little bit. He wants to run every route 100 times, but you rather have to ease up on the guy, make him kind of ease up on himself, but he wants to work and to be the best player that he could possibly be.
And for once, Justyn Ross was healthy going into this season. So a lot of Chiefs fans and myself were very excited to see what the Kansas City Chiefs got in Justyn Ross. And so far, throughout the first 7 games of his career, he's come down with 3 receptions and 34 yards, which isn't anything too spectacular. And it seems like the Kansas City Chiefs are still looking for any solution at wide receiver. I mean, they recently traded to bring back Mecole Hardman, to give you an idea. But it seems like Justyn Ross has taken a little bit of a step back in his quest to become a full-time NFL starter, because according to the Johnson County, Kansas District Court public records, Kansas City Chiefs wide receiver Justyn Ross has been charged with domestic battery and criminal damage to property, totaling less than $25,000 initially, but luckily for him, that got brought down to less than $1,000. Now, Justyn Ross was arrested Monday afternoon in Shawnee, Kansas, and was booked later that day, and he's set to arrive at court, but it's important to know that these are just misdemeanors so far. So the important information here is, according to radio traffic that was captured on broadcastify.com, a police dispatcher stated that the alleged victim told police that Ross was dragging her through the house and has torn up the house. The alleged victim suffered minor injuries, according to a Shawnee Police Department offense report. No specific injuries were included. Police damage is to a laptop, iPhone, computer monitor, gold bracelet, and car key, the offense report stated. No weapons were involved in the incident per the offense report. The first thing that's important to mention here is these are all allegations. With that being said, anytime you involve laying a hand on a woman or anything of that sort, I'm going to be a little bit sensitive. But in this particular instance, the thing that bothers me is the fact that he allegedly dragged her through the house and tore up the house. Obviously, he was angry about something. Still, no excuse. Not really the best outlet to let go of your anger. All I'm going to say is, I don't think this is going to ruin Justyn Ross's career. I definitely think it's something that he has to be aware of, because it could ruin his life. I mean, bro, we all get angry. We all get upset. There's healthy ways to let go of that anger. There's therapeutic ways to get through that anger. This is not the answer. I mean, don't get me wrong. There's times where I feel destructive and I usually just punch a pillow, and that gets rid of any time I feel destructive. Or there's times where, like, I think the very worst case is I'll clear out my desk if I'm really pissed off, but that is very, very rare for me as well. What I'm trying to say is there's very healthy ways to try to overcome any type of anger you have, and if you're not careful in this particular instance, this could completely ruin your career. Don't get me wrong, Andy Reid has given players that have had way worse track records a chance to play for him, but in the past, he would give very talented individuals a chance because those talented individuals could help his football team. I mean, a good example of this is about a year and a half ago, the Kansas City Chiefs brought in Damon Arnett on a futures contract, and then Damon Arnett got arrested. I mean, I think the principle principle here applies. The more you fuck around, the more you're going to find out. So I don't think this is going to be the end of Justyn Ross's career, but I feel like if he continues on this path and he doesn't look at his situation, and he doesn't stop himself from acting in this particular way again, then it could affect his career and he could squander a remarkable opportunity for himself, which I really hope doesn't happen, because clearly Patrick Mahomes likes Justyn Ross. Clearly Kansas City Chiefs fans like Justyn Ross. I mean, hell, I'm just a Patrick Mahomes fan. I'm a Cowboy fan, and I'm rooting for this guy. Anytime someone has an injury that could ruin their NFL career and they're able to break through and somehow have a spot on the Kansas City Chiefs, of course I'm going to root for them. He's supposed to be a top 10 pick and it didn't happen because of an injury. So I'm rooting for Justyn Ross, but at the same time, he has to be real with himself. Ahead of you on the Kansas City Chiefs depth chart is Sky Moore, Marquez Valdez-Scantling, Rashee Rice, Kadarius Toney, Justin Watson, now Mecole Hardman, and then there's Justyn Ross. Obviously not in that order, but to give you an idea, like, you're not wide receiver 1, 2, or 3. You're not even wide receiver 4, bro. You're wide receiver 7. So it's really important that he understands the situation he's in and really tries to make the most out of this situation and make sure he doesn't get in his own way. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Aside from that, I'm your boy Mike, and I'm dropping our mic until our next upload.